Composing Gloves here. This is the 13th video in the Master from the Ground Up tutorial series, and today we're going to be looking at LFOs. So what LFOs are, they are a modulation source, and the way you get to them is you've already seen the envelope, so you just click on one, they all say LFO, and bang, you're an LFO. And what they do is they send a source. So if you have a waveform that's really slow, like say 20 cycles per second, that's really slow, they use those as controlling signals for parameters. So they aren't audible signals. They're used to control parameters, to tell them how to behave. And they'll turn the parameter on and off according to the values associated with the type of signal you send to it. So okay, let's just go right down the features here. So we have let's go to a new sound real quick. Bang. Okay. So we have our factory and user presets, and you can make your own presets, copy them, and move them to another envelope where you can paste them. And you can also save presets if what you make here is so special to you that you decide you want to save it. Maybe it'll be part of your sound from now on or whatever. And we can load up one, and bang, it loads up. It's all great. Okay. Then you have delete, and again, you can delete stuff similar to the envelope. And I have this mono tab, which I'll cover in a second. And you have this mode tab, which allows you to switch between LFO, performer, and stepper. Today, we're only going to be talking about LFO, but we will get to performer and stepper in the next videos. So what happens is you decide you want to control something to turn on and off rather quickly or by itself, and you don't want to use an envelope to do it. So another great way to do that would be an LFO. So say we've got our tone here, it's a saw wave, and we want our amp knob to turn on and off like this so many times a second. So we're going to take our LFO tab, put it in there, and we're going to make it turn on and off, just so. And what you have here is you could choose a whole bunch of different waveforms, and they give you a huge variety, bending, just all these different waveforms, and you can choose two of them. And you can actually morph between the two shapes, and depending on where you put it will create entirely new shapes that are morphs between these two. And so that could be a really useful tool. So you could get a sine wave, so you get somewhat smooth, but you can also have some edges, and you could just create these really complex controlling signal waveforms. And you could send that, and now, according to what we have set up, it will change according to our little thing here. So it's turning on and off according to the waveform that we set. Now you can click here through your basic waveforms, and if I morph through them, you'll hear it change from the sine wave to the pulse. And you can actually modulate these. They have boxes, so you can modulate them by. And that's what that does. And now let's go over here to the to these controls over here. Now, this is the rate control. This affects, so essentially the rate is the pitch of the LFO that you're sending, how many times a second. And you can make it really slow. That's actually a little too slow. There you have it. And then it's going to be silent for a really long time. Still holding down the key. I'm going to speed it up. Okay, so there you have it. Let me go really fast, really slow. And you also have a sync option. Oh, well, this restart right here references the phase. So it always starts back at the point you select. So you could change the phase of where you want it to start. Like say we wanted to start on the soft part first, on the 0 value. Or let's say, oh no, we want to start on the full value. On the sine wave, we have a lot of options. You start here, 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 here. Like you have all these options, okay? And it's right here. In past versions, they've actually had a little marker thing, but now it's just the edge right here. And so if you click the sync button, it will perform the function that you need and choose the ratio. So this, if you're familiar with time signatures in music, it's the same way. So for every one beat, it will oscillate 4 times or 8 times or 16 or 32 times up to 32. And you can change that. So if we change it to 32, 32, it will only oscillate once. I mean, it'll continue to oscillate once, but wants a beat. And if it's easier to just do in factors of 1, I believe, unless you're putting this in some specific piece of music, then you can just change the ratio to whatever your time signature is. So 1, 4, 4 times. That's double. So that's what that is. And it also syncs to your external tempo. So I'm in FL Studios and it's syncing to 130. And if I change that, it'll dynamically change. Now, if I were to change the global setting, if you're in standalone mode, you can actually change it right here. But as you see, I have external sync on. So it automatically externally syncs to my DAW. And that is actually something that's automatically on. So you shouldn't have to worry about that quite yet. Then, LFO, hello. Now you have this amp knob. So we've talked about phase and all these things. I guess we'll talk about the internal envelope real quick. This is an internal envelope. It's kind of lame. It's cool, a cool idea, I guess. If you're using all your modulation sources and you're going like crazy, like you just want to do as much as you possibly can, this is a cool option. You could put it in the amp, the X fade, so you can interpolate between them according to the envelope that you set. And we've already talked about envelopes, so it's pretty self-explanatory. And they actually have infinite marks here on the decay, so this will decay forever. And then there's one other thing. You can also put it on the rate right here. I don't know if I said this, but restart makes the phase always start at the same position. And this POS, I have no idea what that does. It's not defined in the manual, not that I could find. So right now it's just the mystery button. There are a lot of features in Massive I'm discovering. Well, not a lot, but there are some that existed in past versions that no longer do anything. For example, in the browsers tab, if you were to go search through it like so, you are supposed to be able to rate your stuff, but you can't. It's impossible to rate. And that was something in the past that they just don't do anymore. So it's there to mock you. I have a feeling this POS may be the same deal. But if it's not, let me know. Okay, so that's the internal envelope. That's what these do. That's we're gonna turn our sync off. Oh, and the other thing it can modulate is the rate if you want it to. So you could do some interesting things here. And now I'm gonna really quick cover what this mono button does. What mono does is, so if you were to hit a button or a key, it's moving at that. And if you go up, the rate will stay consistent, right? But if you were to hit one key and then hit another key while you're playing it, the phase would start at like you have it at restart. So it would start, a new signal would be sent out to that second note and the phases might not line up. And it creates a cool chirpy sound if you're picking harmonics that are, nice, like thirds and fifths and stuff. And if you were to hit all those keys at the same time, they would all start in phase or close to it. But you can also solve this problem by just clicking mono. And now whatever note you click, it will be synced to the phase of the one oscillator it's being sent out. The LFO modulation signal will, that is. And you could just go crazy. If you did not have that, you would have this. And maybe you want that, I don't know. But it's a nice thing to know that that's what that does. Especially if you're doing something like if you're modulating the amp on the oscillator. Okay, so what this amp one does down here is, let's say we have this just, everywhere. And we have varying levels of it, doing different things. And we decided that for whatever reason, we've gone too far on some of these things. And so what you could do is this will proportionally drag down all the values, the amplification of the one oscillator before it goes out. So this will pull it down. So even though this one's at full, it's being pulled down proportionally. So this one's not off till this is all the way down, but this one comes off much sooner because it only has that far to go. So if we were to turn this guy off, and let's say that's turning on just a little, and we'll turn him down. And we'll make this one a different sound. And there goes oscillator 2, but oscillator 1 is still kicking. or oscillator 2 is. Oscillator 1 is gone, and now they're both gone. And so that's what that does. It's important to know that this affects all the envelopes like that. And that is the LFO tab. Have fun linking it in sorts of things and causing them to behave all sorts of weird ways. Check out my Facebook page, Composing Gloves, and my website, of course. Subscribe. All that fun stuff. Like, comment. There's 1,010,000,000 things you could do now. And have fun messing with LFOs. You have all sorts of options. And as I get into more advanced sound design tutorials, you better believe we'll be touching this stuff. And have a blessed day.